Hello everyone, welcome to the first part of the TechByte series of ABAP Core Data Services. In this TechByte series, me and developer advocate Sheena will take you through the learning journey of ABAP Core Data Services, in short ABAP CDS. This is the first part, and we start with the overview and basics of ABAP CDS. Now, defining a data model is a fundamental aspect of designing any application. The data modeling phase is aimed at identifying different data sources. ABAP Core Data Services provides an advanced infrastructure for defining and consuming semantically rich data models on the ABAP stack, whether it could be for transactional, analytical, integration, or search scenarios. Data models defined with ABAP CDS are close to conceptual thinking, making them easier to define, understand, and query it. Now, ABAP CDS plays a central role in SAP BTP ABAP environment and SAP S/4HANA, both in cloud and as well as in on-premise. It is a heart of the ABAP cloud development model used to build apps, services, extensions that are clean core compliant in all the SAP products. The domain-specific data models in the ABAP RESTful application programming model and ABAP analytics are defined with CDS. ABAP CDS was introduced with SAP NetWeaver as ABAP 740, along with the support of the SAP HANA in-memory database, and its feature has grown tremendously since then. Now let us see what are the ABAP data models. ABAP data models support transactional applications, analytical applications, and enterprise search models. This image gives you an overview of the full stack possibilities you have when you build a data model with ABAP CDS and the ABAP frameworks. So it has CDS entities, which are the main building blocks for ABAP data models, and is supported by CDS data types and CDS functions. With CDS access control, you can define role-based authorization to protect the application from unauthorized access. I mean, you get to see the data which you have access to. Now, once you have a data model, you need a service for consumption. So that's where service definition and service binding allows you to publish your data model as a business service which can be consumed in different scenarios. With ABAP CDS, you can take full advantage of a service model infrastructure that allows you to easily expose your data model, like for example, OData service for a SAP Fiori application, or a ENA service for analytical clients, or a SQL service for ODBC-based clients. Now, extensibility is another important aspect because in most of the cases, the standard app cannot be used as is. So, dedicated extension points at various levels of the data model allows you to extend your ABAP data model. Now, to understand the importance of ABAP CDS, now let us first check the classical approach as shown in this picture. Now, intensive calculation was done at the application layer. Although this results in simple SQL queries, but the communication between the application layer and the database layer is quite huge. A lot of data needs to be transferred back and forth between the two layers. So obviously this will impact the performance. Now CDS allow for a data-centric approach in which intensive calculation is pushed to the database layer. Now this will reduce the execution time as compared to the classical approach. So the major purpose of pushing the logic to the database layer is to minimize the communication cost between the application layer and the database layer. So the thumb rule is simple. Do as much as you can in the database layer to get better performance. So with CDS, data models are defined and consumed at the database layer rather than application layer. Now in the screen, you can see an overview of the currently available CDS entities. Note that new entities will be added in the future to improve the different ABAP cloud programming models. So the CDS entities are, it can be classified according to their different purposes. So for example, say you have standard view building such as CDS view entities and CDS projection views. So this is something which we'll see in the demo in the later part as well. And then in the advanced view building, you have CDS custom entities to access data that is not stored in the database table, and CDS table function to access native SAP HANA capabilities. Then there is type definition such as CDS simple and enumerator types. Then domain-specific definition of business objects, built with the ABAP RESTful application programming model. And then you have modification-free extension at the data model level and at the metadata level. Then the important one again, access control definition to define the data access role. Please note that the CDS DDIC-based views have been deprecated. For new development scenarios, CDS view entities and other CDS modeling entities should be used instead of it. So as of ABAP Platform 2021, a migration tool is available to migrate existing CDS DDIC-based views to CDS view entities. In this example, there are view annotation and element annotations. The validity of the annotation depends on the corresponding position where it has been used. Say annotation which is used before the define view statement is valid for the entire CDS view. The annotation that is added before an element is valid for that particular field. Then you have a define statement. A CDS view is defined for existing database tables, or it could be any other CDS views. The name of the CDS view is defined after define view. Associations are the joins to fetch data from multiple tables or CDS views. The selection has the details of the exposed fields. It will also have annotations or calculation for a particular field. Now let us look at the ABAP CDS capabilities. I'll just highlight some of the key features, and we will also see this in today's demo. It's based on the SQL features like joins or built-in functions and the expressions. The expressiveness in the data models is achieved by means of rich set of built-in functions like case distinctions, aggregations, arithmetic functions, string functions, and conversion functions. Then comes the annotations. CDS views can be enriched using these annotations. Well, thanks to the domain-specific annotations, applications of different domains can be built on top of the same CDS views. For example, transactional or analytical or search applications can be built on the same data model. Next is the associations. CDS associations can be used to define the relationship between business entities on the data model level, awaiting the need for explicit joins in the query statements. Well, thanks to these associations, CDS-based data models are easy to understand and it is easy to query. Next is CDS views and extensibility. Another important feature of this is the extension of CDS views with fields is simple. With this mechanism of nested views, the result set is optimized and hence there is a minimum data transfer. Another important aspect is the data that a user can have access to. CDS comes its own data control language called as CDS DCL for a declarative access control at the data model level. CDS roles are defined on the CDS modeling entity once and automatically it is used everywhere where the specific CDS entity is used. With the help of roles, we can also use the same DCL and restrict the results for various categories of users. So coming to the tools, we will be using ABAP in Eclipse or ABAP development tools to create these data models. ADT is the integrated development environment for all ABAP backend development tasks in the cloud as well as in the on-premise world. The editor is quite effective as it offers some of the cool features like code completion, quick fixes, data preview, dependency analyzer, and so on. It also provides quality assurance like troubleshooting tools, static code checks, unit testing, debugging, and tracing tools. So with this, now let's get into the demo and then see how a simple CDS can be created, and let's try to expose more of its capabilities. For today's demo, let us use DMO Flight as a reference. So right-click on the database table and choose New Data Definition. The reference object can be either a table or a view on which you want to build the CDS. Give a name and description. In the next step, choose Create a Transport Request. So the ABAP transport system is used for locking the object, and this gives another benefit and does not deviate much from the classic ABAP development. In the next screen, you see the predefined code templates. You might often reuse some of the code or statements while defining the CDS view, and in such cases, this becomes handy and will speed up the work. You can also go to Preferences and create your own code templates. So now CDS view is created, and you can see the table fields have been inserted between the curly braces. except the client field, which is handled implicitly by the platform because the view is client specific. Now the view key element is specified with the keyword key. Let's also check other entity types. So for that, you click on control space at the beginning, and these are the available CDS entity types. I will add an alias for the data source. Now CDS is an extension of SQL which is enriched with association and annotations. So since there is a currency field, I will add an association to I_currency and I'll expose it. So you can define association to other views and expose for projections. I will make the association public by exposing it here. Now let us also add some field level annotations. So the currency key field currency code is specified as a reference field for price using the annotation semantics.amount.currency code. You can use ABAP Pretty Printer to format the code. This is quite useful as the code gets formatted. So save it by Ctrl S and activate by clicking Ctrl F3, and then let's see the data preview by pressing function F8. So you can see the exposed columns as well as you can also see the SQL statement that is generated for the CDS view. Since we had made the association as public, you can follow the association to the exposed view and check the results. Now, let us check some of the key capabilities what CDS can offer that I mentioned earlier. So CDS supports built-in functions like substring, trim, concat, and numeric functions like round, absolute, and division, so on. For this example, since we have price and currency code, let us try to use the concat function and concat them. So that is done using in this way. Now there's an error because of two different data types, and this is where cast expression is useful. So the cast expression converts the value of the source operand to the desired ABAP data types. So this is how you do cast it. So here I've casted the price to the required ABAP data types, and the error is gone. Now save it, activate, and then let's see the data preview. Since we had exposed a new field, the concated field as a new field, now that has been added and you can see it in the data preview. Next example, let us check case expression, which is also quite widely used. Since we have seats occupied, let us use case expression and we can give some conditions and again expose another new field. So let me use this condition that if the seats occupied is less than 50, then I'll assign it as 1. I'm going to assign numbers between 0 to 3 according to the specified conditions. So the reason why I'm using 0 to 3 is to map this new field to the criticality value, which is often used in Fiori elements. So criticality values are categorized from 0 to 3, 0 being neutral, 1 being 1 is negative, 2 is critical, and 3 is positive. And accordingly, the field will be colored when it is used in Fiori elements. So again, let's save it, activate, and then let's see how the new field comes up with the values that we have specified in the condition. So you can see there are various values from 0 to 3, and that comes up in this new field. Since we have a currency field and it's displayed in various currencies, let us use currency conversion function and convert the price amount to the required desired currency. So this is how you do it. Just press currency conversion and you can insert this code. Amount will be price, source currency will be currency code, target currency for now while hard code it to euro, and exchange rate, let us make use of session variable and give the system date. And as you can see, the error comes up. So you need to cast it to the required currency key data type. And now I'm exposing this, the converted price to another new field called as amount in target currency. So now let's save, activate, and then check the data preview, and you can find the new field which is added, and this is where the price amount has been converted to euros, and it comes up. Now instead of hard coding, most of the cases the user want to input it. So let us try to create an input parameter. So we'll define an input parameter by adding with parameters after the CDS view entity name. So let me define target currency and then give the ABAP data type. So all the parameters are defined in a comma separated list. So let me again save, activate, and then let's check in the preview. So you get a pop-up to enter the target currency. So let me give in euro here. And the data comes up accepting the target parameter. So in case you want to give a default value to the input parameter, you can use this by this annotation at consumption.default value and then specify the value for the input parameters. So we created a simple CDS view and saw some of the built-in functions, that is a concat function, case expression. We also checked on the cast function and as well as the currency conversion functions. So with this now, let us create a simple projection view. So I've used another view with just a select statement. I'll create a projection view. So I will select this view. And then again, right click on new data definition, give a name and a description, and choose the transport request. For now, I'll choose the existing transport request. And in the next screen, we have the templates for this. I'll use a template which is for the projection view. And then click finish. So our projection view is created. And CDS projection views are the topmost layer of a CDS data model. So they expose data of an underlying CDS data model for a dedicated use case. So the CDS projection views are available in different flavors, and that is specified using the syntax statement provider contract. So let me use that provider contract, and this is how it is used. So after define statement, we add provider contract and then again control space, and you get these are the available values for provider contract. CDS transactional queries are intended for modeling the projection layer of a RAP business object in the context of ABAP RESTful application programming model. CDS analytical queries are designed for modeling analytical queries. And CDS transactional interfaces are intended to serve as stable public interfaces, for example, in RAP extensibility scenario. To have a released API, transactional interfaces should be released under a specific contract, say for example C0 or C1. Once this projection view is activated, we will check the API state. In order to make the columns, the fields visible, we need to add some UI annotations, and that is done using at UI.lineItem. So we'll add the annotation for every field that we want to make it visible. In general, this is added in metadata extension object, but for this demo, I'm using it in the projection view. You can also hide the column using the annotation at UI.hiddenTrue. So if you need to specify any field or a column as a filter, then specify it under selection field. So I've added the selection field as well. Save it and activate. You can see the data preview of the projection view. Now, since the projection view is activated, under API state, you will be able to see the various contracts in which the projection view can be released. Now that we have a projection view, you need to create a service to expose it as a OData service. To do that, you need to create a service definition. So choose the projection view, right-click, and then choose New Service Definition. Give a name, description, choose a transport request, and then finish it. So you have, here we are just exposing the projection view. Save and activate it. So next step is to attach a protocol, either a OData service or a ENA service. So choose again the created service definition, right click on it, and then create new service binding. Give a name and description and specify the binding type. So for today's demo, we'll choose OData v4 and finish it, then activate the service binding. So once activated, you need to publish the service. Now the service is published and you find the entity set and an option to preview the data, the service in the Fiori Element app. So click on the preview and the Fiori Element app opens up. So you find all the fields that was made visible giving the annotations UI.line item. And you also find the filter which we had specified using the annotation selection field. So click on Go to get the data of the service in the Fiori Element app. So this concludes the demo part of today's session. Here are the key takeaways. We talked about the importance of code push down to the database layer. CDS is the next generation data model and it plays a crucial role in the ABAP RESTful application programming model. So then we created a simple CDS views and checked in some of the built-in functions like the concat function. We checked all the case expression, did a currency conversion, added an input parameter and user input parameter in the currency conversion, and we created a projection view on top of a simple CDS view. Created a OData, exposed it as a OData v4 service, and checked the result in the preview of the Fiori Element app. So with this, I conclude today's TechByte session, and I'll be back in the next TechByte session checking other capabilities of ABAP CDS. So until then, keep coding.